So if you're a weeb with a pulse, you've probably heard of Chainsaw Man. And if you've heard of Chainsaw Man, you probably either read the manga or watched the first episode. Chainsaw Man, even amongst a stacked October anime schedule, is polling at #1 anime in the world right now. And with an anime going that big, there's gonna be a lot of new viewers to the content. And even though Chainsaw Man may seem like a simple anime, there's a lot of nuances and differences in power scaling that make it a little bit complicated at times. Sure, in premise, it's about a man with chainsaws on his hands who just wants to touch boobs and eat, but there's a lot more to the story. And that story that I'm talking about revolves around devils. Because Denji is a half devil hunter who works for a devil hunting association. And while the concept of devils might seem relatively straightforward, a lot of people don't understand the different kinds of devils, or the physiologies of devils, or the interspecies relationships of devils, or how devils can consume each other, or how all devils have certain abilities, or how all devils have certain weaknesses. So with no further ado, let's get into explaining devils. Before we get to explaining anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. So we have a lot of questions to answer that revolve around devils. Where are they from? How are they created? What are their abilities? What are their weaknesses? Well, let's start with an easy question. What are devils? Devils are simply a race of supernatural beings that exist in the human world, and they exist and sustain themselves by feeding on the fears of humanity. In this sense, they're a bit like cursed spirits in JJK. In fact, they're actually very similar to cursed spirits in JJK. See, all devils are created in hell, which I guess is different from cursed spirits in JJK because cursed spirits in JJK just manifest in the human world. However, devils are born in hell with a name correlating to something that instills fear in the human world. So let's say you have a fear of public speaking. If enough of humanity had a collective fear of public speaking, a devil would be born in hell called the public speaking demon. Now, this public speaking demon would not only look like a public speaker, I guess they would be made of like a podium and a suit, maybe that wasn't the best example for a demon. Let's say like a sword. A sword demon would be born in hell, and it would be made of swords, at least partially. And since the sword demon is, well, the sword demon would have sword abilities. But that's the thing, in order for these devils to incarnate from hell to the human living plane, their name has to instill fear. So if for a month a couple people were afraid of pancakes, but then everybody got over it, a pancake devil would be born in hell, but it would never be able to incarnate to the human plane of existence unless its name regarnered fear. Like if IHOP just weaponized or something. However, if IHOP didn't weaponize, there is another way for the pancake devil to reincarnate into the living world. See, if a devil dies in hell, they're actually sent to Earth. And if a devil dies on Earth, they're sent back to hell. This effectively makes them immortal because anytime that they die, they're just sent to a different plane of existence, meaning that any devil Denji ever cuts down could hypothetically come back to Earth if they're just killed in hell. The thing is, though, devils don't have memories of their previous lives, so basically every time they die, it's a fresh start in a different plane of existence, be that Earth or hell. But why would a devil die in hell? That's a good question. I mean, it's only devils in hell, right? So why would they attack each other? Well, devils feed off of two things: blood and fear. And while usually both of these things are derived from humans, that's not always the case. You see, while a large part of a devil could be whatever its name is, that being public speaking, a sword, or pancakes, a devil is also largely comprised of human components: internal organs, blood, skin, arms, legs, which means that devils can actually use the blood of other devils to heal and or power themselves up, because the more blood and or fear a devil consumes, the stronger they get. Blood and fear also immediately heals any injuries a devil might have, which is why even though devils and fiends, who we'll cover in a second, can survive off of regular food, they refuse to eat it because it doesn't give them more power or heal them. But if a devil did hypothetically not want to consume fear and or blood, they could live forever. You see, devils can't die of old age. The only thing that can kill them are external factors like a sword or a gun or a chainsaw. So hypothetically, if a devil decided not to draw any attention to themselves by garnering fear or blood, they could live forever just eating regular food, which is like not a bad gig if you ask me. And more devils actually do that than you would think. A lot of devils actually live relatively friendly existences with humans. You know the big fox that we kept seeing in all of the trailers? Yeah, that's the fox devil. And the fox devil actually makes contracts with humans. See, the fox devil lives in Kyoto, and you won't believe it, the fox devil embodies the fear of all foxes. And since foxes are kind of everywhere and some people are afraid of them, it's a pretty powerful devil. But the fox devil doesn't eat humans. Well, it does but I'll explain. See, the Fox Devil makes contracts with humans, and when these humans summon the Fox Devil will lend them their power, aka the Fox Devil will go to fight for the human. In exchange for the Fox Devil lending that human their power, that human will have to give the Fox Devil a part of their body, a finger, a toe, an arm, an eye, an organ. And since the Fox Devil is usually summoned to eat other devils, this is a good deal for the Fox Devil. But here's the thing, the Fox Devil is actually kind of a weird exception, because kind of by rule, the more human a devil looks, the friendlier they tend to be in regards to humans. And the Fox Devil is a fox. And these humanoid devils sometimes turn out to become devil hunters. The only problem is devils don't have rights, which, like, fair, but also if some of them are helping, not fair. So like, regardless of how good a devil is, like let's say Denji, he's a devil hunter, he does a lot of good for humanity. Technically he's a hybrid, so I don't actually think that applies to him. But regardless, let's say there's some other devil that's a really good guy and he's helping out the devil hunters. If I just stabbed him in the face one day just for existing, nothing would happen to me. There's no repercussions for humans killing devils at all. And this is kind of fair because in Japan, in the Chainsaw Man world, 7 out of 20 deaths in Japan are devil related, meaning that devils are the leading cause of death on Earth, which is why devils bounties are usually 300 to 400k at the lowest, and that's yen we're talking about, so that's $3,000 to $4,000 for weak devils. But since we're talking about weak devils, we should talk about the types of devils. There's 5 types we're going to talk about: normal devils, primal devils, reincarnated devils, fiends, and hybrids. Normal devils are just that, normal devils. They are devils who embody a fear of a certain thing, and the things that devils can represent is kind of all over the map. There's an angel devil, yes, the fear of angels. He's a devil hunter. The eternity devil, which is the fear of eternity. And all of his abilities are eternity based, and I guess he kind of looks like eternity if you know what eternity looks like. But there's also even scarier things like the hell devil or the marshmallow devil. Yes, there's a marshmallow devil and a grape devil and a tomato devil. As to who's afraid of these things, not entirely sure. But because things like the marshmallow, grape, and tomato devils are built around things that not a lot of people fear, these are considered lower level devils. Now, obviously, these 3 devils can get stronger by consuming blood or fear, but they're gonna start weaker than, let's say, the hell devil. And this is like a manga spoiler, but it's not really. Guess who gets to use the power of the hell devil? Santa Claus. When I say people watching the anime aren't ready for the anime, I genuinely mean it. So normal devils, that's pretty cut and dry, right? They are devils based off of learned fears. But what do I mean by learned fears? Well, these are fears that could be individual. See, I personally am not afraid of hell because I don't think it exists, but I am afraid of snakes, so I would give power to the snake devil. This distinction is important because the next thing we're talking about is the primal devils. See, primal devils are devils created from primal fears. These are fears that every human is born with. And while technically babies are only born with 3 fears, darkness, heights, and loud noises, we only know of one primal devil, and that's the darkness devil. And because every human is born with the primal fear of the dark, because that's where our ancestors died, and by ancestors I don't mean like, oh, your 1700s ancestors, I'm talking like cavemen. The darkness devil is considered one of the strongest devils in existence, so much so that any regular devil or fiend understand that in its presence they are significantly weaker than it and are terrified. In fact, the darkness devil and all primal devils are so powerful they've never been killed, and therefore they've never left hell. Kind of lucky for us though, considering the fact that if they were transported to Earth, there's basically nothing we could do about it. But since we're talking about getting transported to Earth, we should talk about reincarnated devils. See, there's only 3 canonical reincarnated devils currently. I'm not gonna say who they are because then you would know that the people who die are coming back to life. But these are just devils who have been killed and then sent back to hell and have come back from hell. See, this is where things are a little bit hazy though, because obviously things like the primal devils have never incarnated on Earth, and canonically the reason that's given is because they are too powerful to die in hell. However, as I understand the lore, there's 2 ways that a devil can come to Earth, and it's through incarnation or death. So these reincarnated devils could have just reincarnated or been killed in hell to be sent back to Earth. But like, the whole primal devil thing just trips me out. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. Moving forward, the next category of devils are fiends. You see, fiends are devils who take over corpses. And I know what you're saying,
Oh, well, Denji's a fiend then.
no, he's a hybrid. I'll explain in a second. You see, a fiend like a hybrid is kind of a combination of a devil and a human, except the fiend can only use a watered down version version of their devil techniques. So let's say we bring back our sword devil. Our sword devil can use 100% of their abilities while in their devil form, but were they to take over a corpse, they would only be able to use, let's say, about 50% of their abilities. But why on earth would a devil do this? Why would a devil who's at 100% strength take over a corpse and get weaker? Well, that's because a devil never does this while they're at 100% strength. See, a devil only enters a corpse to become a fiend as a last resort. Like if a devil is almost fatally injured, they crawl into a corpse to become a fiend. And being a fiend isn't all bad. They can still drink blood to recover from their injuries and get strength from the blood, and they can even transform into their devil form temporarily, which allows them to access 100% of their devil abilities. But unlike devils and hybrids, fiends can't make contracts, like the contract that Denji and Pochita made, or the contracts that the fox devil makes with humans. On top of this, if a fiend is fatally wounded, they die, meaning that if I stab a fiend through the heart or decapitate them, that's GG's. But isn't that the case for everybody? No, it's actually not. Hybrids can reincarnate, but we'll cover that in a second. I want to talk one last thing about fiends. Fiends are very easy to find. Because they took over corpses, they might look like a human, but they have a couple of key characteristics. Specifically, a fiend will almost always have an oddly shaped head. A good example of this is Power, who is a fiend, has horns. Now, it won't always be horns, but something will be different about the human's face. The gun devil fiend had a gun growing out of his face. But since we're talking about things growing out of people's faces, let's talk about hybrids. Hybrids are probably the strongest thing on this list, except for maybe primal devils. See, hybrids have a human consciousness, but are merged with a devil. And unlike a fiend, a hybrid can manifest the full abilities of their devil, except they manifest the abilities of their devil onto a human body. See, a fiend can recreate their devil form, not a hybrid form. However, this transformation takes a bodily trigger. In Denji's case, it's pulling a ripcord in his chest. And once again, unlike fiends, a hybrid's regenerative abilities are almost limitless. You can quite literally decapitate a hybrid, and if you dump enough blood into their mouth, they will resuscitate. This is the true difference between a fiend and a hybrid. If you decapitate a fiend, it's all over. But a hybrid can never truly be killed as long as there is enough blood to bring said hybrid back. Now, Makima says that hybrid devils are considered the rarest devils of all. So rare that high-level devil hunters didn't even think they existed and that they were just mere rumors. But there's 8 of them canonically, so they're not that rare. And obviously, yes, Denji is one of them, which is why Denji is a main character, because he's nigh unkillable. And one of the hybrids is actually a sword devil. He's the long sword devil, but he's still a sword devil. I completely forgot about him. But enough about the different types of devils. What are the abilities of devils? Well, there's 5 conventionally accepted powers that every devil has. The first of which is fear empowerment. And this is something that we've talked about many times over the course of this video. The more fear that's garnered towards the type of devil you are, the stronger you become. So even without consuming blood, a devil can become significantly stronger if, let's say, a tsunami hits the coast and kills a bunch of people and you're the tsunami devil. But let's say your name isn't garnering a bunch of fear, there's obviously blood consumption. And while consuming the blood of humans is great and all, should a devil consume another devil while that devil is still alive, that devil will actually gain the abilities of the devil they ate. So if you're the tsunami devil and you eat the sword devil, you get the sword devil's abilities. However, if a devil eats a dead devil, they won't get the dead devil's abilities. On top of this, since devils technically are the representation of a human fear, if a devil is consumed by another devil, the fear of that thing that the devil represented disappears forever. But here's the thing, it doesn't only get rid of the fear of said thing, it also gets rid of the thing. Because let's say hypothetically, because this totally doesn't happen in the manga, that a devil eats the nuclear weapons devil. If you eat the nuclear weapons devil and nuclear weapons don't disappear, a new devil is just gonna form like a week later when people remember what nuclear weapons are. So if hypothetically a devil consumes the nuclear weapons devil, nukes just disappear. And this applies to more than just physical objects. It also applies to concepts. And once again, totally doesn't happen in the manga, like World War II. You can just wipe World War II from history if you eat the devil. Outside of that incredibly powerful technique, there's also contract creation, which, as we stated earlier with the Fox Devil, gives devils the ability to lend their power to humans for a sacrifice or a task or something like that. It's usually a sacrifice. After that, there's corpse possession. Every single devil on Earth can possess a human corpse. And while 99.99999% of the time this is gonna make a fiend, under some very, very specific circumstances, it will make a hybrid. What's cool about corpse possession, though, is that it's highly dependent on the state of the corpse. If hypothetically, let's say I get shot through the heart, heart, I'll be dead, but my brain will still be intact. If a demon takes over my body, my personality will live on through this fiend. However, if my brain isn't intact, the demon's personality will shine through. And in the circumstance that my brain is still intact, the devil will actually receive the majority of my memories, pseudo reviving the corpse, in that your corpse would live on with your own memories and personality, though it's now being directed by a different person. And the last ability is reincarnation. If a devil dies on Earth, they go to hell. If a devil dies in hell, they go to Earth. But what are a devil's weaknesses? Well, there's one universal weakness that applies to every single devil, and that is positive emotions. Yes, that's right. Fear makes a devil stronger, but positive emotions like love make devils weaker. So if hypothetically me and 300 people decided to make a cult that worshipped the darkness devil, the darkness devil would actually get weaker because of our love. Now, obviously 300 people loving the darkness devil is going to pale in comparison to the billions of people who are afraid of the dark. But you could probably weaken the pancake devil using this. And that's it. Basically everything that you need to know about devils as you head into Chainsaw Man. Obviously I could do deep dives on any of the different types of devils, fiends, hybrids, all of that. But if I do, we're heading into manga spoiler territory, and I'm just trying to give you an overview of what you need to expect here. If you guys feel as though you're now ready for Chainsaw Man, tell me in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Listen, I'm excited for Chainsaw Man, but I'm more excited to see people's reactions to Chainsaw Man.